Design for me is about creating an interesting and positive reaction, say as you're looking at a piece, whether it's art or whether it's a building, deemed as architecture. Design has a very common elements throughout all of it, and that's about, basically we're creating for human beings, and we're creating spaces and environments and reactions that humans will enjoy or will at least look at and think about. And again, taste is very different across the world, from Asia to Europe, and one is not better than the other. They're just different. But the starting point is always about the environment, and by looking closely and studying it, whether it's an urban landscape or whether you're very much in even the countryside, you will always use it as the starting point. And from that, very good thinking will come about, and that will form the basis. A few examples I'd like to discuss and share with you. Firstly, there was an interesting competition in America, which was to come up with a new symbol of freedom for human rights. And obviously the famous sculpture there is the Statue of Liberty. And so, how do you think of a new symbol of freedom in today's age? And what do you think of? And it was an open competition. There were about 300 entries. For us, we did our research and our thinking based on a very famous scroll that's in the British Museum. It's about this big, about 20-30 centimeters long. And 2,500 years ago, the famous Persian king Cyrus the Great wrote on this scroll this first ever idea of the Declaration of Human Rights and Liberties and Freedom. So we then took this and adapted this and said, okay, well, imagine if we made a huge cylinder about the size, say, 20 meters long, and then put very abstract writing or movements to represent the writing on the outside. And then, because this was being featured in LA, add some bling to it. So why not put kind of an inner gold core, or, kind of painted core. So there's a very interesting cylinder that was going in Santa Monica Boulevard. So you're driving past it. So as you're driving past it, it has to create the movement. And this was the new symbol of freedom. So we submitted this idea, and we were delighted when it won, out of all that competition. And within 3 or 4 months, it was built. And on the opening ceremony, there were 75,000 people that turned up for the unveiling. And it's been gifted to the city of Los Angeles, and it's there to this day, and will be there forevermore. So it was fantastic to be able to really, create something and have it in the city of LA, and something that's, generated so much publicity in a very positive way. So that's a very good example of really finding a unique starting point, understand where it's going and what it needs to do. And so it's really ticked a lot of boxes, and we're very thrilled to have it there to this day. Another example I'll share with you is for the London Olympics 2012. And again, it was an open competition to come up with a viewing platform. Now, a lot of viewing towers just go up straight, and then at the top you have the viewing ledge. You go up in the lift, look at the view, and come down. That's it. So we thought, well, how do we approach this differently? So we teamed up with famous Indian artist Anish Kapoor. It was a collaboration. And we came up with this idea of, as opposed to going up just once, if you go up and then loop, hit the ground once, go up, loop, hit the ground twice, go up, hit the ground 3 times. It's like this 3-pronged positioning that keeps the structure upright. But then looking at it, there's all this interesting movement going on, and you're kind of looking at it, and you certainly double take, and it created a lot of interest where a lot of people in the London Olympics wants to go up this viewing platform. And in fact, even the Queen went up there as well, which was a nice touch. So again, it was the icon So for the London Olympics 2012, so every single time there was, the finals going on in the arenas, it would always be featured there. So again, huge publicity for us, and the steel was donated by Mittal, Indian corporation. And it just goes to show how a very simple idea can be highly effective. And now to this day, it's used by the British public as, I think, one of the largest helter-skelters, where you can zoom down like this. Again, it's an interesting piece, and thankfully it's still being used to this day, which is great. To end with, I just want to talk to you about some examples of how maths and principles of mathematics, algorithms, can generate very interesting art forms. And this is a very interesting subject, whether maths, if it's derived from maths, is it deemed art? Or is art just something that's just plucked out of your imagination? Big debate. I'd like to hear your views on that as well. But certainly we believe maths is an amazing starting point for pattern. It's something you find in nature. It's something you find all around us. So it's taking these principles and then now looking at how can you create public art. The first example is stanza, and how if you take different pentagons and you align the pentagons in certain ways, it creates this very interesting form. And then if you use mirror glass, it then reflects all the light. And it's a very simple idea derived from maths, but strikingly beautiful. And this was featured in an exhibition in Tokyo. And then leading on from that, we then won a competition for the Amsterdam Light Festival. And again, based on the principle of pentagons and the interesting lines forming, without the mirror glass, but using a different technique that forms colored facets. And again, it was on the rivers there in Amsterdam, on the canals, I should say. And again, very, very successful, very simple idea. So a lot of the work we do is from maths. And we have a research center which is really looking at how maths can also create form for buildings, for architecture. And it's also blurring the lines between architects and engineers, where the form forms the whole piece, coming from different algorithms. So I think, in closing, I think design, it comes with great responsibility when, you have the capacity to be in charge of the look and feel, or contribute, I should say, the look and feel of a cityscape, whether it's through public art or buildings, and what emotions you can really get from people. Certainly, if you look at any modern day city, it's positioned by its buildings. If I say France, you'll think of the Eiffel Tower. If I say London, you'll think, Houses of Parliament, Big Ben. If I say Dubai, you'll think of the Burj Khalifa. So basically, you have the power to really represent and create an entire identity by creating. And I think that comes with great responsibility. And I think that also comes with great learning and not being afraid to make challenges. But if you get it right, you can really create very positive and strong emotions within people, because ultimately all we're doing is for us, it's for humans. And I think if you can strike that balance, it's very, very powerful, and it's also very enjoyable and rewarding. Thank you.